Hey guys. So awkward at the start of these things. I am Hannah. This is JenHannagans. If you don't know, which if you're watching this you do, I have been on WW since April 1st of 2019. And in that time, currently I'm at like 97 pounds lost on WW. Recently, I've been a lot more vocal about this, and I've had a lot of questions. Lots of friends, lots of people hit me up on Facebook, asking questions and starting their journey, which is so exciting. I'm so happy to see other people join, and not join WW. I've had friends that are calorie counting or a couple of different programs, and that's great. What I want to do today is I want to bring you 10 tips that I think is important when you're starting. Most of these I did, a couple of them I wish I'd done. It would have made things easier. Now these are specific for WW if you're starting, but it also applies to any program you start. This is just kind of, if you're tracking specifically, if you're tracking your food, this is kind of what I would suggest to get started. So tip number one, the number one thing that has made this time successful for me, because this isn't the first time I've tried to lose weight or be healthy, is I knew why I was doing this. It's not about weight loss. That's a huge benefit, but I have a much bigger why. The reason I am doing this is for my health. I had gotten to a point at my heaviest, close to 500 pounds, if not over, and I couldn't live like that. I knew that if I went to the doctor, I would be pre-diabetic, if not diabetic. I knew I was causing stress on my heart. There was a ton of joint pain. I also knew that if it came to the point where I had to have some kind of surgery, I probably would not be a good candidate or survive surgery because of my size. I also have family members who I need to be around for. And I teach Sunday school, and I have a best friend who has 6 children, and I want to run around with them and play with them, and I don't want their memories of me to be sitting on the couch watching TV, which is what was going on. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything with them, and that's not what I wanted my life to be, and that's not what I wanted them to see. I wanted to be able to do more with everything in my life. So when I started this, it wasn't for weight loss. If you want to just lose a couple of pounds, there are a lot of ways that you can lose a couple of pounds. WW is one of them. Exercise, whatever. But if your goal is simply weight loss, you'll lose the weight, and if you're not very, very careful, you're going to put it on again. This is about a lifestyle for me. So that's my why. Tip number 2. I did not do this, but I wish I had. I've actually had a couple people start recently, and I really pushed them to do this as well. When you start a program and you're tracking your food, I highly recommend that you spend the first week eating everything you normally do exactly as you normally do it, and tracking every single thing that you eat. The reason for this is when I started, I had a really hard time meeting my points, and one of two things would happen. I would not eat hardly any points all throughout the day, and then I'd eat way too many at night, or I would use all my points on one single meal and go over on that meal because I wasn't making the right choices. It was very difficult for me in the beginning. And the reality was, in my life, I was not eating at the right times. I was not eating the right food. But I didn't know that. I had a thought. I kind of figured, I used to think, why am I so fat when I don't eat? That was why. So I say spend the first week tracking everything you eat. You're going to find out that either you're not eating enough or you're eating too much of the wrong thing. Both of those, not eating enough can really seem like you're doing the right thing anyway. You're just not eating. But that's as detrimental, if not more so, to your health than eating too much or eating too much of the wrong thing. It just is. So spend the first week eating as you normally do. That's going to give you your starting point, and it's going to give you a better understanding. Also, if you're sincere about starting any kind of program to better your health, spending a week with that in your mind, that I'm going to do better, I want to start this, I want to see progress, and you spend that week eating and doing what you normally do in life, your mindset's going to start to shift. As long as you're tracking everything, you have to track everything. Tip number 3, 4, and 5 kind of all go together. Tip number 3, for me, it was very important to make it easy. Grab and go options, plenty of options, because I didn't want to walk into this and feel like I couldn't eat anything, that I was depriving myself. So I had to find a lot of point-friendly foods and have them ready to go. I'll be honest, when I started this journey, I was a lot lazier than I am now. Still can be a little lazy, but convenience was key, and most of the foods I was eating were frozen foods that you could just microwave. And those I didn't like if it took more than 5 minutes to microwave, because most of the time I would wait too long to eat, and so then I would need food right then, or fast food. And so when I started this, it was important to have easy options available. That may mean prepping for you. It may just mean going through the store and finding things that are point friendly that you can have available. That leads to tip number 4, which is if you are buying in bulk, and I don't mean bulk like going to Sam's Club and buying 500 of whatever. I mean, if you're buying a bag of chips, or a box of cereal, something where there is more than one serving in the container, that can be great for cost savings. But if you tend to overeat, that can be very, very bad for portion control, because what will happen is you'll scan it, you'll track a serving, and you'll eat 4. At least that's what I did. So if you're buying in bulk, if you're buying multiple servings of something, prep it before you put away. This is an example of that. This is one of my snacks right now. It's cheddar rice cakes. This says that there are 6 servings per container in this. If I'm having a bad day, it would not be out of the usual for me to eat an entire bag of whatever it was. Now, obviously, puffed rice cakes was not what I went for in the beginning for a snack. It's not what I was eating pre this, but it is something I enjoy now because my taste buds have changed. But I still have this bag. It is open, and there are a bunch of Ziploc bags inside. That is because when I brought this bag home, knowing my tendency is still to not understand portion controls, I pointed that. I found out how many little mini rice cakes or whatever, puffs, whatever they're called, was in 4 points, because I like to have like a 4-point snack. That just seems to work for me. And I put everything, I opened the bag immediately. I put everything in a bag, little bags. I wrote that there are 4 points on it in this bag. And then I store all of these little bags in the original bag, so that if I need to scan it to get my points, I can. I just know that I'm eating 4 points worth. That doesn't take very long to do. It takes, if I'm being slow and not paying attention, maybe 10 minutes. It really doesn't take that. It probably takes like 3 minutes. It takes 10 minutes because I like to prep those kind of things sitting on my couch watching YouTube. So that also leads into tip number 5. Tip number 5 is snacks. If you are someone who snacks naturally, you probably do a lot of mindless eating. At least that's what I did. If I was snacking, which I didn't always snack, but if I was, it was a lot of mindless eating. And then there were times when I wouldn't snack and I wouldn't hardly eat anything. I'm going to do a whole nother video on snacks to show some of the snacks that I used, especially in the beginning. But right now I'm working from home. When I started this, I was working part-time in the office and part-time at home. And it was important for me to have enough food and enough variety of food that I would be satisfied while the girls bring in cakes and cookies and everything else. And I would still have some of those, but I would limit it to 1 serving because I had all of my food. So find snacks. Go Scan Happy in the grocery store. Scan everything and find some snacks. Don't make yourself automatically switch to all the health food. Start slow. Start with prepping your snacks like I just showed you, but some of the things that I did was poppables. Poppables are great if you're a chip eater. It looks like you get a lot more than you do, and they fill you up because you eat them a little slower sometimes. I make snack packs, think Lunchables, but I make snack packs that will have some kind of fruit in the bottom of like a Tupperware dish, and then I'll put some parchment paper in there to separate and put some either turkey pepperoni or Canadian bacon and some cheese options, either a Laughing Cow or a single serve of mozzarella, something like that, and make myself a little snack pack, because that, or a little Lunchable if you want to call it that, because that gives you some protein and some sweet, and it balances, and it's really kind of fun. Premier Protein. Speaking of protein, Premier Proteins. I don't care what version you get. Premier Protein, Equate. There are a lot of protein drinks out there. Find one that works for you and your points or your calories and that tastes good. Premier Protein is the one for me that tastes the best. And one thing that, if you pay any attention to anyone who does WW on YouTube, you'll have seen the Pro Coffee, which is literally coffee, and instead of sweetener or creamer, you put a Premier Protein in it, because that will help you stay full, and it's delicious. Premier Protein is actually my favorite because they have a flavored cafe latte, and I have one of those for breakfast most days. The other thing is apples and Jif Whips. I use Jif Whips peanut butter. I can barely find it anymore, but a low point peanut butter. It's a point heavy snack because you're talking 5 to 6 points for a snack, but it fills you up. It gives you protein. It gives you that little bit of sweetness that I was needing. So that was a go-to for me, and still kind of is. Tip number 6, water. Water, 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 water. You have to figure out what's going to work for you to get water in. I was not a water drinker. I was a Dr. Pepper drinker. Long time Dr. Pepper drinker. Drank over 100 ounces easily in a day, and continually said, I just can't drink water. I don't know how people drink that much water, because they don't drink that much soda. I didn't look at it when I started, in which I actually cut out most sodas before WW, but I added in water instead of cutting out soda. I would still drink soda or tea or whatever, but I had to drink my water first. When I started WW, I really focused on water because I knew that that would be a big thing for me. But again, I'm lazy and I like easy, and I don't want to have 500 reusable plastic bottles around my house. That's not healthy for anyone. So at one point I had 8 or 10 reusable water bottles. I literally went to Walmart and bought every bottle that I could between 18 and 20 ounces. I would fill these up from my water filter at night, and I would put them all in the fridge, and then I knew by the end of the day, if I had drank all my water, then I could drink whatever else I wanted. Normally didn't want anything else, but that's what I did then. So I had a lot of these. My mom kind of got frustrated with the number of water bottles I had to clean and all of that, but I had to make it easy. That's what I had to do. Eventually, I got a better water filter that I liked more. It was easier to fill from. So I got rid of most of these, and then I went to a big cup that I could put ice in, drink out of the straw, take anywhere. This one has an elephant on it. If you can't tell, I like elephants. So I still use this, did this for a while, and then I found my favorite cup, bottle, whatever you want to call it. This I got from, I saw it on Sophia Marie D's channel and A Little Less Ashley here on YouTube. Got it from Magnolia Vines, I think is the name. I'll have to look that up. This bottle is 30 ounces. I drink easy 6 of them a day. Favorite bottle ever. So find a new cup or some way to get your water in, something that's going to work for you, whether it's ease or convenience or just having a pretty cup that will help you track. Do that. Tip number 7 is plan your days, your weeks. You can do this a couple ways. A lot of people will make a complete meal plan and either prep all that food beforehand or just know exactly what they're going to eat every day. That doesn't always work for me. So I will plan a menu for the week. In my family, that's what works for us. We have a list of meals that we're going to eat off of, have all the ingredients for those ready, and then we choose what day we need them. They're all about the same points typically. So that's how I do it. Now, I also, because my dad has just recently joined WW and I'm trying to make it easy for him and easy for me because we are working from home. It's really easy to forget to eat. So I do some meal prep. Right now in the fridge I have a lunch or dinner option and a breakfast option that we can pull from whenever we need to. But plan your days, plan your weeks. If you know you're going to go out to eat, plan for that. Figure out what you're going to have at that restaurant that you always go to and get what you want. Eat 0 point foods the rest of the day. Make your plan. Work your plan. Tip number 8, speaking of restaurants, use your weeklies. If you're on WW, you get weekly points. Weekly points are there for when your daily points are not enough. Use those, especially at the beginning of your journey. If you do not use your weekly points, from everything I've seen and people I've talked to, if you don't use your weekly points in the beginning, you get to a certain point in your weight loss when you've lost some points because you're lower in weight, and then you start using your weekly points and you stop losing weight and you start maintaining because you never use those weekly points in the beginning. Don't go over your weeklies. Don't use them all necessarily, but don't be afraid to use your weeklies. Tip number 9 is start moving. I firmly believe you do not have to exercise to lose weight, but I do think you need to exercise to be healthy. And exercise is going to look different for someone who is 500 pounds than it does for someone who's 150. Don't force yourself to do what your friend who's at her goal weight and been doing this for a while can do. Exercise for you may just look like walking around your house, or it may just look like standing up and sitting down from your chair several times. Don't let that exercise stop. As you can do more, do more. I started off walking the first time we went for a walk, Jen and I, after we started WW. It was less than a quarter of a mile. It was a very slow pace, and I was exhausted and felt sick afterwards because I couldn't physically do that. Now, that's not a problem. I still can't run. It's still a lot of things that I cannot do, but there's a lot that I can do now. I can walk 3 or 4 miles at a time and not have a problem. I'm using an app and doing virtual races that you complete at your own pace. I've already completed an 18-mile race in a week's time. I'm 12 miles into a 30-mile race. It's been less than a week. A typical walk is 2 to 3 miles now. That's not something I could do in the beginning, but I can do it now because I started from the beginning saying, this isn't just about weight loss. I could lose weight just eating food, but I want to be healthier, so I'm going to be active. Start moving. I don't care how, I don't care how much. Start with what you can and then build from there. Tip number 10, last one for this, is give yourself grace. There are going to be days you go over points. There are going to be days that you choose the wrong foods. There are going to be days when you don't want to track, or you don't track, or you don't get your water, or you don't get your walk, or whatever. There are going to be days, if you're doing it for weight loss and you're getting on the scale, there are going to be weeks that you gain weight. It's going to happen. Don't beat yourself up and don't use those as an excuse to stop. Keep going. Give yourself that grace. Understand that you are learning and you are changing and you are improving your life by doing this. And small step backs are fine. Just don't stop. And you'll get past it and you will have an amazing story. And I cannot wait to hear your story. So those are my 10 tips if you're starting specifically WW, but really if you're starting any kind of health journey or weight loss journey, those are the 10 things that I would suggest you start with. If you have any questions, let me know. Since this is for the YouTube channel, press that like button, subscribe, hit the bell. Sorry, I had to. Seriously though, if you have a email account, or Gmail account, you can get a YouTube account, subscribe. We're working on this channel, Jen and I working together on this, so you'll see content from both of us. Sometimes that will be together, but we're really doing this because, first of all, when I started WW, there wasn't anyone my size really out there on YouTube. And second of all, we get a lot of questions, and we're doing the journey together. We're supporting each other and everything else. So why not do YouTube and Facebook together? Love y'all. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye.